We're now going to bring you someone who has never been a guest on This Week or on any other Sunday public affairs show. He's an important and influential voice in politics and culture with millions of followers and listeners, which is why the White House pays attention to what he has to say. He's known as Charlamagne the God, and I sat down with him for this exclusive interview. He's one of the most influential voices in morning radio.
Yep, it's the world's most dangerous morning show, The Breakfast Club. Charlamagne the God, just hilarious. I don't know where the hell envy is at.
Also a television personality, podcast host, and New York Times best-selling author. His interviews with pop stars and politicians making viral moments like this.
So what's something that you always carry with you?
Hot sauce.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? Are you getting information right now?
Hi everyone, Asagai from Drinking Gourd. Thanks for tuning in. This video just came out, but I had to comment on it, because this shit gets me hot. But first, I gotta give you a brief history lesson. From 1800 to 1865, the Underground Railroad worked to freeing slaves from the South. The most famous conductor being Harriet Tubman. Now the conductor would lead the slaves primarily at night, and told them that if they ever got separated, they were to follow the drinking gourd. Now the drinking gourd is the Big Dipper constellation. The Big Dipper always points north, so this way they were always heading toward freedom. We are a modern day railroad. We're always trying to point the black Democrat off of the plantation, but niggas like this are trying to keep you on it. Now, normally, I don't talk like that. I don't get into personal attacks, but this needs to be called out for what it is. Because not only are they trying to keep you on the plantation, this nigga is trying to call you back.
Leonard McKelvey, known to America as Charlamagne the God, has built his following on charisma, comedy, and blunt questions.
What was you thinking earlier this year when you got caught cheating in Vegas?
Hey, brother,
Mr.
listen.
Irresponsible.
In the last presidential election, the Breakfast Club became a must-stop for Democratic candidates. With an average of more than 6 million monthly listeners, candidates sought to appeal to its younger, diverse audience. And in 2019, Charlamagne appeared at a campaign rally with then-presidential candidate Kamala Harris. But it was his 2020 interview with Joe Biden that made the biggest splash and drew criticism of Biden for his comments on black voters.
If you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump and you ain't black.
When Charlamagne didn't immediately push back on Biden, I knew he was a sellout to the highest degree. But letting Biden off the hook during an election year, that showed that Massa had him in his pocket firmly.
I met with Charlamagne at his radio studio to discuss the state of American politics. I saw you describe this campaign that we're headed into as a race between the cowards, the crooks, and the couch.
Yeah, the crooks are the Republicans. The cowards are the Democrats because they don't fight hard enough on anything. And, you know, the couch is voter apathy. And, you know, that's who everybody is up against in 2024. And right now, it feels like the couch is going to win. I don't know who that benefits, you know, by the couch winning, but it feels like the couch is going to win.
What's your sense? How engaged, how much is your audience paying attention to this race?
My audience, I feel like my audience is America. And when I'm out and about, just, you know, walking in the street, or people are calling into the radio station, like nobody is inspired, you know, by the upcoming election. Like, you know, like nobody wants to see the rematch between, you know, Biden and Trump.
I beg to differ. Polls show the exact opposite. Trump leads Biden by 5 points in recent polls. There may not be any enthusiasm for Biden, but there's a lot for Trump.
And that's what makes me feel like the couch is going to win.
Why?
This is the first time in my life when people say things like, you know, this person is a threat to democracy.
He's going to show himself to be the liar that he and the Democrats are so comfortable being.
Mm-hmm. It's absolutely true. And it's mind-boggling to me that, you know, nobody is taking it as serious as I feel like they should. Like, we watched an attempted coup of this country happen on January 6th. and everybody's acting like it was just a bunch of people, you know, wilding at spring break, you know, down in Florida.
Yeah.
Like we literally watched, you know, people try to overthrow the government.
This is just the beginning. He spews Democrat talking points like a fountain. I'm gonna give you a little reminder every time he does it.
Because they didn't like the results of an election led by a former, you know, president. If that doesn't cause a sense of urgency in people, I don't know what will.
I mean, Biden does make that an issue over and over again. I mean, he constantly talks about that. Why is it not resonant?
I'm not just here to blast Charlamagne, but to expose the lies and deceit pushed by him and the Democrats to keep you on the plantation.
Well, he's just an uninspiring candidate. Like, you know, there's nothing about, you know, Joe Biden that makes you want to listen to him.
This is as close as he will get to real criticism of Joe Biden. He tries to portray himself as some sort of centrist willing to go after Democrats, but that's part of his deceit.
That's why he should be leaning on, you know, his vice president, Kamala Harris, who's way more charismatic than him. He should be leaning on, you know, other surrogates like, you know, Gavin Newsom or, you know, Shapiro in Pennsylvania. Like, he should be leaning on people who are more inspiring than him, who are more charismatic than him, and he should just be, I guess, if you want to call it, the brains of the operation behind the scenes. Like, that sounds crazy that we're saying that about a president of the United States of America, but he has no main character energy.
So this is the new strategy. Word on high must have come down that they need to get rid of Biden. He's losing badly in the polls, and Democrats need a way out. Put Charlamagne up there to try and push Biden out of his re-election bid.
At all. None.
And what is that? Is that age? Is it the way he is? I mean, what's the problem?
I don't think it has anything to do with age. You know, I think it has just everything to do with him. Like, Donald Trump is what, 3 years younger than President Biden, but he just comes off a lot more youthful. He comes off, you know, like he has a lot more energy. And
that's because Trump is more youthful. As you'll see through this interview, the truth smacks Charlamagne in the face several times, yet he refuses to admit it.
I always say this about them. Donald Trump seems more sincere about his lies than Joe Biden does about his truth.
Charlamagne endorsed Joe Biden in 2020, but says it was primarily because he had chosen Kamala Harris as his running mate. Has she met your expectations? I mean, you've been kind of tough on her.
Yeah, no, she hasn't. You know, but I don't think it's too late for her to pivot. You know, I think that right now, you know, historically, vice presidents have always kind of played their role. Their role is to just basically parrot the president, you know, speak, you know, on behalf of the president.
That may be true, but this is what you get with Kamala.
It's very important, as you have heard from so many incredible leaders, for us at every moment in time, and certainly this one, to see the moment in time in which we exist and are present, and to be able to contextualize it, to understand where we exist in the history and in the moment as it relates not only to the past but the future.
Every time she talks, I feel like I've lost some IQ points just for listening to her.
But I think, man, we're in a new era, right? Like for New Jack problems, we need New Jack solutions. Mm-hmm. And she serves a unique purpose, right? Because she is the first woman of color in that position. So there's things that she could talk about, there's things that she could say that I feel like, you know, he can't. And I mean, man, we all remember her in those Senate hearings when she was pressing those people, when she was like really on, you know, she was prosecuting these people.
I can't tell if it's willful ignorance or just plain ignorance about Kamala's history as a prosecutor in California, locking black people up left and right.
I want to see her prosecute the case against Donald Trump in this country. I feel like she could go out there and really let the American people, you know what's going on. I'd like to see her going on outlets like Fox News. I'd like to see her going in there and mixing it up.
Well, do you get blowback from the White House? Because you, even now in this conversation, you're very tough on Biden. So when you say something critical, do you hear from him?
Yeah, and I think that's the stupidest ever.
He talks tough, but we know how that conversation really went.
You understand that?
Yes, sir. Him, I understand, but I don't know why I got to take lip off this
You
nigga.
don't have to know why. Do you understand? Yes, sir. I understand. I'm good.
Because I think that, I'm sorry. But
We can bleep that out.
Yeah. Because I feel like you should be able to criticize whoever your elected official is, right? And even if I do criticize them, I'm criticizing them because of what I see coming up in November. I see what we're facing. So what I'm saying to them is, where is the sense of urgency? You can't keep saying that there's a threat to democracy, and democracy as we know it is going to be gone, but not act like it. And the other problem is they've always done this with every single Republican candidate.
Here's why Charlamagne's the house nigga. He knows the truth, he sees the lies for what they are, yet he decides to still remain on the plantation. And he can't stand the idea that you have gotten off.
Since I've been alive, whoever the Republican presidential candidate has been, they've demonized. It doesn't matter who it is. It doesn't matter if it's John McCain. It doesn't matter if it was, Mitt Romney. It doesn't matter who it is. They will demonize the Republican.
Bingo, right in his face. The strategy is to always demonize Republicans, regardless of whether it's true or not. He knows Donald Trump isn't a racist as the media says, the same as how Romney wasn't a misogynist. Black people can't vote for racists, unless the racist is a Democrat. He'd vote for Massa any day.
Candidate, and now that there's an actual legitimate threat right there in our faces, they're like the party who cried wolf. Nobody believes them.
Do you think Trump's going to win?
I don't know, but that's what's scary about it, right? Because when you look at everything he's done, right? The attempted coup of this country, put the Supreme Court judges on who got rid of Roe v. Wade, takes credit, says, I am the one who got rid of Roe v. Wade. Me, I did that. When you see all of that, it really shouldn't be close, right? But when you have a candidate like President Biden, who the polls are, saying has the lowest approval rating ever, and, he'd lose to a general election in a Trump, that's scary. That's where these conversations are coming from, where they're like, yo, you might need to step aside.
I told you this was the new plan. Get Biden to step down.
And put somebody else in there. Because, my fear is that the election's going to be close, right?
You've got a very powerful voice. You've got, incredibly influential show. You've got an audience that Democrats especially crave. And obviously, Nikki Haley coming on, Republicans as well. Are you going to be using that voice to try to affect this election?
Now, your problem right now is making a good impression. And I want you to start solving that problem right now.
I'm going to tell people exactly what I'm seeing. I'm not going to endorse anybody, but I'm going to tell you exactly what I'm seeing. And what I'm seeing is, democracy really on the brink, right? Like this is I would tell my listeners exactly what I'm about to say right now. For years, they've told us that, these people are threats to democracy. This person is absolutely a threat to democracy.
That sounds like an endorsement. I mean, it sounds like you're saying endorse not Donald Trump, which, as you've said, it's going to be Biden.
Yeah. Well, I don't think that's an endorsement.
Well, you got a problem with that?
Oh, no, I ain't got no problem with it.
I'm just simply telling people what is going on out there. Because I'm gonna speak the truth about Democrats too. Because I feel like if you lie to people about Democrats, they won't believe you when you tell them the truth about Republicans. So if I lie to people about what I see with Joe Biden, they're not going to believe me when I tell them the truth about what I see with Donald Trump.
Yeah, but the truth is that you're not telling the truth about Biden. You're not telling the truth about the Democrats, and you're not telling the truth about the Republicans or Trump. So, all the way around, you're just a shucking and jiving house Negro.
So all you got to do at this point, and I hate to say this, but why do we keep having to say this? Pick your poison. One poison might send you to the hospital for a couple of days.
Yeah.
The other one's going to absolutely kill you.
Yes, sir, Bishop.
Go on now.